In a house full of people, most dogs quietly choose just one person, the one they follow more often, the one they relax around the most. And interestingly, it's not always the person who feeds them. Dogs don't choose randomly. They pay attention to subtle emotional signals most people never notice. And once you understand those signals, it becomes much clearer why a dog chooses one person over everyone else. The first reason is emotional safety. Dogs are extremely sensitive to emotional energy. For example, when a dog hears a sudden noise in the house, many dogs will instinctively look toward the person they trust most. Not the loudest person in the room, not the person moving the most, but the person who feels emotionally steady. Because to a dog, calmness often means safety. They constantly observe tone of voice, body language, and emotional reactions. In a busy household, people can have very different emotional patterns. Some are calm and predictable. Others are loud, fast, or unpredictable. To a dog, the person who feels emotionally calm often becomes the safest place in the room, and safety is the foundation of trust. To a dog, emotional safety matters far more than most people realize. The second reason is consistency. Dogs feel secure around people whose behavior is easy to predict. Someone who greets them the same way each day. Someone whose tone and reactions stay familiar. Routine creates a sense of stability. And to a dog, predictability feels very similar to safety. Over time, the person who behaves most consistently often becomes the one the dog naturally stays closest to. But consistency is only part of the story. Another important factor is emotional attention. Dogs naturally gravitate toward people who truly notice them, not just when they want to play, but when they are quiet, unsure, or simply looking for connection. Some people walk past a dog without paying much attention. Others instinctively make eye contact. You can often see this in small moments. A dog quietly walks into a room and glances toward someone. If that person notices and responds gently, the dog remembers that. But if the signal goes unnoticed, the moment simply passes. Speak gently, or respond when the dog signals something small. Over time, dogs begin to recognize who is truly paying attention, and attention matters to them more than many people realize. A dog doesn't just bond with the person who spends the most time around them, they bond with the person who notices them. Even small moments of attention slowly build trust. But there's another signal dogs pay attention to that many owners never notice. Dogs often form the strongest bonds with the person whose emotional rhythm matches their own. This usually happens during ordinary moments, walking together in the evening. Many owners notice this during daily routines, a quiet walk after dinner, sitting together while the house becomes calm, or simply resting in the same room. These small shared moments may not seem important to us, but to a dog, they slowly build familiarity. And familiarity often becomes trust. Sitting quietly in the same room, or simply relaxing at the end of the day. Over time, these calm shared moments create a quiet sense of trust. When a dog and a person experience these moments together, their emotional patterns begin to align. The dog learns how that person moves, speaks, and reacts, and the person slowly begins to understand the dog's subtle signals in return. This quiet synchronization creates something deeper than simple companionship. It creates trust. Dogs bond through shared emotional rhythm. And this is why sometimes a dog chooses someone in the household who surprises everyone else. And this is why a dog's choice sometimes surprises everyone in the house. Sometimes the person a dog chooses isn't the one who spends the most time with them. And it isn't always the person who feeds them either. Instead, it is often the person whose presence simply feels the most natural to them. Perhaps the deepest bonds form when a person truly understands a dog's signals. Dogs communicate constantly, through posture, through eye movement, through subtle changes in body language, but many of these signals are easy to miss. The person a dog bonds with most deeply is often the one who responds to those signals without forcing anything. Someone who gives space when the dog feels unsure. Someone who notices stress before it becomes fear. Someone who allows the dog to approach in their own time. Dogs bond deeply with the person who understands them. And when a dog feels understood, trust grows naturally. Many people assume dogs choose the person who feeds them the most, And while food certainly matters, it's usually not the deciding factor. In many homes, the person who fills the bowl each day isn't the one the dog follows from room to room. Instead, dogs tend to stay closest to the person whose presence feels emotionally safe, the one whose voice sounds familiar and calm, the one whose reactions are easy to predict, the one who seems to understand what the dog is feeling, even without words. To a dog, those small emotional experiences matter more than a single daily routine like feeding. Food creates excitement, but emotional safety creates attachment. And over time, dogs naturally move closer to the person who gives them that feeling. This is why, in some homes, a dog may choose someone who doesn't feed them, doesn't train them, and sometimes doesn't even spend the most time with them. Yet somehow, that person becomes the one they quietly stay near. Not because of what that person does for the dog, but because of how the dog feels around them. When people think about the bond between a dog and a human, they often imagine training, commands, or routines. But the truth is usually much quieter than that. Dogs pay attention to the emotional atmosphere around them. They notice who makes them feel calm. They notice who understands their signals. And over time, these small emotional moments slowly shape the relationship. Not through effort or intention, but through how the dog experiences that person day after day. This is why a dog's choice can sometimes feel mysterious to the people around them. From the outside, it may seem random, but to the dog, it rarely is. Sometimes people wonder why a dog chose one person instead of another. They look for a single reason, but for dogs, the choice is rarely about one moment. It is usually built through many small experiences over time. A dog may live in a house with many people, but in their mind, there is often one person who feels different. The one whose presence feels the most familiar. The one who understands them without needing to say anything. And the one they quietly choose to stay close to. Not because they were told to, not because they were rewarded to, but simply because that person feels like home.